Wave weather now. Hey, everybody, I'm Wave Storm Tracking Team Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here. We've got an update on the heavy-ish rain moving in overnight tonight and the Oaks storm potential, not a storm guarantee at this point. So let's get you straight to what's going on outside right now with our SkyTrack camera in downtown Louisville. You've probably seen a couple of raindrops in and around your vicinity this afternoon as some of these front-running showers and downpours have tried to pop up in advance of the main line of storms out to our west ahead of a cold front here. And that's left behind some cloud cover here. And we're going to see that cloud cover continue to increase as we head into this evening. And of course, this is probably what you came here for, the latest on Oaks and Derby. Right now, we've got a 60% storm chance for Oaks Day. That still stands. And then Derby Day's 30% shower chance stands as well, though the timing on this has evolved a little bit. And we'll explain how all of that's working right now and what our forecast looks like more on an hour-by-hour basis coming up here in just a moment. I want to get to a few of your comments first before we really plunge into this. Hello to Ralph Johnson, who's watching us from Nicholasville, Kentucky. We've got Joshua Wetter here on YouTube. He says hello. Scott, of course, a big fan of ours here on YouTube. Hope all is well with everyone, he says. Yes, we're doing well here. Michael Cravens from Simpsonville, hello to you. Ashley already has a complaint about the allergies that she would like to air out, if you will, in her Facebook chat room here this evening. Yes, I have been sneezing like crazy today. This has been no bueno, that is for sure. Austin's here from Upton, Kentucky. Travis says, we're just getting rain tonight. Yes, we are getting some rain tonight. No severe weather as it stands right now. We're going to go through all of that here over the next few minutes so you guys get the gist of what's going on here. Of course, if you're just joining us here, we just finished the coverage of the bed races, part of the Kentucky Derby Festival there that we air live on Wave each and every year. And of course, we had it live streamed as well. It was a fun event. Wave actually had a bet in the race this year, which was really fun to see some of my coworkers out there tearing up some of those cones out there. All right, let's get you straight to what's going on now. And that is temperature starting to fall as this line of rain is moving toward the east. We're still at 78 here with Louisville, but it's not too far to the west where you find temperatures currently in the lower 70s and even the 60s. There's the rain. Notice no warnings on this at this time. And I count a grand total of 3 lightning strikes over the past 10 minutes from all of this. These are barely thunderstorms. This is more of a tropical rain sort of setup for the overnight hours, not a severe weather setup. So no severe weather tonight. I hope that's loud and clear for you. That's really, really important to know because there will be, some flooding concerns in a few places, but they would be very minor. So we're not expecting a big deal out of that either. I do want to explore some of this line of rain, though, here on the radar view. Again, this is current that you're seeing here, just north of the Western Kentucky Parkway there near Welch's Creek, Kentucky. Is some of the heaviest of the rain that we're seeing on the radar, I should say, at the moment there. Moving near Fordsville, new radar update there, moves a little closer to Jugville, Kentucky there, just west of Litchfield and Grayson County. And as that moves on towards Centerview, Kentucky, it'll put down some very heavy rain at times. We'll show you some of the model data as to how much rain we're going to get out of this rain overnight tonight. But as we zoom things out, you'll note there's a couple things going on here. You've got the cold front still kind of to our west right there. You've got sort of a prefrontal line of thunderstorms right down here across Tennessee and northern parts of Alabama. And that's important because there's kind of 2 lines of storms here, line number 1 and line number 2. And it's really a line of barely storms and a line of storms out to our west pretty much. Now, that's important because these 2 lines will eventually kind of meet up as we head through tonight. And where those meet up, and it's particularly in southern Kentucky where that would happen, we could get some of that heavier rain as it would extend the amount of time that those folks in southern Kentucky would spend under some of this rainfall, as both that prefrontal line of storms and the cold front kind of merge together at the same time there as the cold front catches up to all of this tonight. You'll note there are a couple severe thunderstorm warnings down across parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas. That's expected to stay well to our south and west. No problems with that overnight tonight. In fact, for those of us who are a little concerned about severe weather, we don't have any here tonight. As we go through tomorrow, it's well to our north and west. I mean, the plains have been on fire with severe weather ever since the weekend. It's been awful to see what has happened there. Fortunately, we have fatalities to talk about, from Texas to Oklahoma up toward Nebraska and Iowa. It's just been strong tornadoes in those areas here. I think what I remember seeing today was that one of the Oklahoma tornadoes from the weekend here was rated an EF4, which was the first one of the in quite some time around here. So yikes. But you'll see again on Wednesday, they have another 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather right there in the heart of the plains. Again, this is all for the plains. We're not going to be seeing any of this severe weather. As we head through tonight, here comes the line of storms from the west. Again, these are barely storms. These are more tropical downpours, if you will, here. And they cross the I-65 corridor a little closer to 10, 11 o'clock this evening. As we head toward about 2 o'clock in the morning, watch what happens in southern Kentucky. So we're kind of done-ish with the rain here in Louisville. But downstate Kentucky, Munfordville, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Columbia, you folks could sit under this rain for another couple of hours as the front takes its sweet time to come through. It's kind of the combination of that prefrontal line of storms plus the front itself kind of catching up with one another here. So as that happens, that'll put down some of the heaviest rainfall totals in our area as it stands right now with this data. By 7 o'clock in the morning, most of us are dry. I think the morning commute will be okay. We do have a small shower chance in there, but this frontal passage is a little cleaner on this data than it was before for that 6, 7, 8 a.m. time frame. So fingers crossed that happens for folks to get to work and school efficiently tomorrow morning. This is probably what you're looking for right here is the rainfall totals. You'll see southern Kentucky with the highest totals, well more than an inch in some spots. Where you see those yellow spots, we could pick up more than 2 inches. That is a real possibility overnight, given the setup here and how much moisture is in the atmosphere over our area. Again, this is more of a tropical situation, like tropical heavy rainfall, not a severe weather situation. So I don't think severe thunderstorm warnings are on the docket tonight. No siree. Okay. Let's get through tomorrow afternoon, shall we? 5-0 Tuesday at Churchill Downs, looking good. Temperatures in the 70s. We'll have a few clouds around. Champions Day is Wednesday. Again, we continue to trend that forecast pretty dry. The only reason we put a 20% chance of a shower in here is because there's a dead line of storms that's going to send out a kick in the atmosphere, a kick of energy, or an outflow boundary, if you will. And as that moves through, we could kick up an isolated downpour or two, but it's such a small chance that we've only put a 20% on that. Same story for the steamboat race on Wednesday, again on the Ohio River, temperatures in the 80s, tiny storm chance. Thurbies, we have lowered this rain chance even more to just 10%. I mean, it's basically dry now for Thurby, so no problem there. The one thing you might run into is overheating if your Derby outfit, or your Thurby outfit, I should say, is kind of made of wool, kind of thick. You're trying to, impress the crowd there. The problem is temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s for highs then. Make sure you're staying hydrated, take plenty of breaks. I know upper 80s isn't like dangerous or anything like that, but it can be if you're not prepared for it coming out of the cool season here. So make sure that you're ready for those warmer temps on Thurby for Thursday. So Thurby's rain chance is only 10%, as we discussed, but the Oaks storm chance is pretty elevated here. It's a 60% chance. This does not mean it's a washout. It doesn't mean it's going to be storming all day, every day on Oaks, if you will, here. What it does mean is that we do have at least a period where we could see some thunderstorms, and the most likely period for that would be sometime mid-afternoonish based on the latest data, which I'll show you a sample of here in just a moment. The issue, and I'm going to draw on this here so you get what I'm talking about, is the issue is, yes, the front, at least on the data, tries to get out of here in time for Saturday morning. But the problem is this cool air left behind, where you see me circling here, may inspire the development of a few cool air showers in the afternoon. Doesn't mean it's cold. No, it just means the cold air aloft is going to be the culprit for some instability to pop up a few showers, perhaps. That's why you see that little bump up to 30% on Derby Day. Again, that is just 30%. This is not any time to be super concerned about the Derby rain chance at the moment, but it is a time to be paying attention to it, at least, because there will be some changes here in the timing of that. There may be some changes on the backside of this front here, and how quickly that rain chance stair steps down into Saturday morning. Could that get extended a bit more into Saturday? It is possible. Could this speed up? Absolutely possible. And we have seen, both trends happen in the last 24 hours here on the data. Today's trend, unfortunately, has been to not only reintroduce the little shower chance there Saturday afternoon, but to also delay the exit of the rain there on Saturday morning a little bit, and also introduce some showers and storms in the forecast for Sunday. That's after Derby. You probably don't care about that as much, but just keep that in mind that we do have storm chances after Derby Day to be concerned with around here that we will, of course, be updating you on as we get closer to the Derby race and thereafter. Oaks race looks like this. This is just another way to present the same thing, basically saying that the highest storm chances around 3 o'clock. I don't see any big severe weather risk with this at all. There may be a stronger storm or two with a wind gust embedded in that and some heavy rain, but I just don't see that severe weather threat for Oaks, which is fantastic, okay? Fingers crossed that remains the case. Here's Futurecast. This is the European model, and for you weather nerds out there, this is the 12Z model run here of the European model from today, and it shows us, of course, the dry Derby, as we know, but the rain chance for Derby, or I should say the Oaks race, or Oaks Day, really, starts to move in potentially in the morning here on this model run. That's a little bit faster than some of the other data here. And you'll note that it's still moving through kind of slowly with this cold front during the Oaks race itself, during that 5 and 6 o'clock hour. And then when it shows for Derby Day here, I'll back this up slightly so that you can see this hour by hour right here. You can see by 2:30 in the afternoon on Derby Day, we're talking about Saturday here, that it does have some of these showers trying to pop up over Kentucky with the cooler air behind the front, creating some instability. That cooler air is above our heads, but nonetheless, it is there. It does ramp down that shower chance by the Derby race itself, which is just before 7 p.m. That's the post time, at least. So there is a good chance that the Derby race is still dry, but there may be some scattered showers Derby afternoon to be concerned with. Again, that's not a huge deal at this point, just something to watch, not something to panic over if you have Derby plans. Just keep up with our forecast because there will be changes. There will be an evolution to those rain chances that I just showed you there a few moments ago. So this is kind of our bottom line on that Derby forecast right now for Kentucky Derby 150. It's amazing that we're already to 150 here. 75 degrees during the afternoon. We'll probably top out around 76 or so. 30% chance for that shower there by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Looks to be something at least we're going to leave in the forecast for now, given that data trend that we talked about with those showers trying to pop up in the cooler air aloft during the afternoon hours. Let's put a pin in it, shall we? The 10-day earliest alert sort of gives you the bottom line on what I've been talking about here. Storm chance at 60% for Friday for Oaks, and then we get into somewhat of a stormy pattern next week after Derby. You see all those thunderstorm, lightning bolts and things there kind of denoting where that is Sunday through Thursday of next week. That is our 10-day earliest alert. I want to get to some of your comments and questions here as prescribed here. And let's see here. Joe Bray says, happy Derby week, Ryan. Happy Derby week to you, Joe. Tiffany's on the horn here with us. Hope rain happens to water my garden. We've got a 100% chance of rain tonight, Tiffany. You will get some rain for your garden, thankfully, here. Jackson on YouTube, waiting for short-range model runs for Friday. CSU learning module says that the threat is a little bit south of us. We'll wait to see from the short-range model runs. Yeah, at this point, I don't think we've got a huge problem to worry about there on Oaks Day for severe weather. The CSU learning module that he was just talking about there, that's a machine learning thing that essentially is kind of like an AI severe weather forecast. We do look at that. We don't gauge everything on it, but at least it does give us an idea of kind of what we're getting into in the long range there. So we'll see how that pans out. For now, I don't think it's a huge deal for us on Friday, severe weather-wise, mostly just run-of-the-mill thunderstorms there. Scott says, 88 and sunny for our Derby party Saturday in Florida. Whew, that's warm, isn't it? Let's see here. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, no. Looks like we've got somebody to ban in here. Oh, that's unfortunate. Don't you just hate it when people spam comments? That's no fun here. Let's see. Shonda says, good evening from Jeffersonville. Good evening, Shonda, I should say. Janet says, good evening from Owenton, Kentucky. We love Owen County, just outside of our viewing area, but often the weather goes from west to east, so you guys watch us to know what's coming in your direction, since you're kind of the front lines for the Lexington and the Cincinnati markets there. Let's see here. Let's see. Any more questions or comments? All right, Denise is with us, or Donnie, I should say, if I can read my screen. We've got so many small screens in here. My eyes can only read such a small font from such a distance away. Donnie says, "Good evening, Ryan from Du Bois, Indiana." Let's see. The Joss and Friends show on YouTube says, "Is there any chance of photogenic lightning tonight?" Unfortunately, I was thinking maybe last night we would have at least a little bit of lightning, but the way things are evolving out to our west, I do not think so. These are barely thunderstorms, mostly just tropical downpours moving through. The atmosphere just does not want to produce lightning with this. Not enough instability, and more so just kind of a heavier rain threat with this. Amanda has said, just joined, just rain tonight. No severe weather. That's correct. Just rain tonight. Some of it could be heavy, though, especially in central and southern Kentucky. Could see over 2 inches in some isolated spots down that way. That's something to keep in mind here, okay? Oh, my gosh. So Shonda tweeted me earlier, and she saw my push notification to the Wave Weather app, and I said, beefy rainfall possible overnight tonight. And she was like, what is beefy rainfall? Beefy means strong, large, heavy, beefy. Like a taco can be beefy, but also a rain chance because it's dense. It's got a lot of rain with it. So I used that adjective today, and Shonda was like, what does that mean? So I explained it to her on Twitter, and she said, beefy rainfall was a new one on me, by the way. Thank you for explaining that. You're welcome. I try to make it interesting. And if you're asking questions, that means that at least you're reading our push notifications on the weather app. So that's a good thing here. Ronaldo says, is there a tornado chance? No, not with any of the weather I've just talked about. We really do not have a tornado chance, which is fantastic, by the way, for late April, early May. We've been through the ringer with tornadoes this year, but that's just not in our forecast just yet. There is a system mid next week as we head through like Wednesday, that time frame, that we need to keep an eye on. I'm not spazzing out about it or anything like that at this point. Not too concerned, not panicking about it, but it's something we at least need to keep an eye on at this point, just to make sure that everybody has the earliest alert that system. We'll just keep an eye on it. There's a lot that has to happen before that moves through. And heck, we still have some reservations about the Oak storm chance and the timing, how the setup's going to work, where's the low pressure going to go, how fast the front going to move through. There's so much of that to get through first that we can't even be concerned that much about what's going to happen mid next week, because all of the things in front of it, kind of like a choo-choo train here, are going to affect the caboose. That's the caboose. So we don't know what condition the caboose is going to be in once the whole train kind of moves through. Of that was a metaphor, to say the least. That was a very deep metaphor, if you will. Okay, let's see. Brandon says, next week looks like summertime. Storms every day in the afternoon. Yeah, this is not so much a summertime pop-up storm chance. You'll see these are kind of high storm chances for the extended part of the forecast. 30 and 40 are high, by the way, for anything after like 7 days, just because our confidence is low. But if you get up to that 30, 40% mark, that means, okay, we've got at least some data that's saying it's going to storm. This is more of a disturbed weather pattern here with a front that kind of sits over us, multiple low pressures moving through. That's what we're seeing for next week there. Nathan's asking, Oaks, can you please change the weather so that it's just like Derby and is perfect, please? I wish I could. Derby may very well be a pretty decent day. We just have to watch that afternoon shower chance and then how quickly the morning rain will get out of here. If it moves really fast, we might be in great shape, but we would still have to deal with, a couple of sprinkles and showers possible in the afternoon. Toby on YouTube, hey, Ryan, I just joined. It's going to be a washout for Derby and my party on Derby Day. No, I don't think it's a washout at all. Only a 30% shower chance. Again, mainly in the early morning hours, and then a small pop-up shower chance in the afternoon that we'll keep an eye on. Barbara says, hey, Ryan, I'm sending an early birthday wish for Donji. Yes, her birthday is tomorrow. Can you believe that? But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. She always brings cupcakes for her birthday. She'll do that on Wednesday when she's here. She's actually Churchill Downs tomorrow. What's the strong storm by Hardinsburg? Ashley says, well, I don't think there's a strong storm near Hardinsburg. What you're seeing on the radar is heavy rain. Not everything that shows up as red on our weather app or on TV is necessarily a strong storm. It just means that there's heavy precipitation, and that can be co-located with a strong storm. But in this case, with a tropical rain setup like this is just heavy rain. There's a batch of heavy rain that you see. Notice there's only like 2 lightning strikes in the last 10 minutes with this. So this really is barely a thunderstorm at this point. And if we go under the hood here, you'll see that we've got a little bit of wind. But if we query those individual pixels on the radar here, you'll see that maybe a 40-mile-per-hour gust out of that at most. And of course, the radar beam's pointing pretty far up in the atmosphere, this far to the south and west here. So that's pretty far aloft. That probably wouldn't make it to the ground. But yes, 40-mile-per-hour winds, some heavy rain. That's about it. It's not too big of a deal at this point. I'm looking to see if there's even a special weather statement on it. It does look like they have put a special weather statement on it with a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust. But that's about it. We'll keep an eye on this as it moves through Breckinridge County, but for the most part, this is just heavy rain, a couple of lightning strikes, maybe that 30, 40-mile-per-hour wind gust moving in. Not expecting any severe weather out of this tonight. This would have to strengthen by 20 whole miles per hour for a maximum wind speed here to get to a severe thunderstorm. So I don't think we have that at this point. Just querying some more of these radar pictures to make sure before we kind of leave off of this storm that we know exactly what's going on. Yeah, 35, 38 miles per hour. So yeah, just, kind of a patch of some wind and heavy rain with a little bit of lightning in it. But that's all this is right now. It does have a special weather statement on it from the National Weather Service in Louisville, which is kind of like a sub-severe thunderstorm warning, if you will. It's just like, hey, we're going to flag this thing. It's something we're watching, but, it's nothing to be overly concerned about at this time, just because it looks red on the radar. I know that can be a little scary looking, but that's probably about the worst on the wind that we would see this evening, 30, 40-mile-per-hour gusts out of that. So again, that is the storm down moving into western parts of Grayson County and into Breckinridge County at this time. We'll put it back on the home view there and leave you with the radar up so you can see what's going on here. Jessica's asking, what time are we looking at rain for Sellersburg tonight? How bad will it be? I have to prepare my fur kid. Yeah, it's around probably 9:30, 10 o'clock there for rain to really start ramping up there in Sellersburg this evening. I would say that 10 o'clock time frame is really when things are going to get closer to the I-65 corridor right there. Ronaldo on YouTube says, I feel bad for all the people in Iowa and Nebraska getting all those tornadoes. It's been awful. I mean, the tornado video has been insane, to say the least. And then the damage left behind has been even worse. And, to think about all these folks who've lost their homes, some folks have lost their lives in that stuff. It's awful. This is the time of year when that happens. Unfortunately, Tornado Alley has roared back to life. And there's still more severe weather threats moving down the line in the next few days out there, not here as it stands. That's some good news. Ashley says, I see red and always think something's going on with with storms. Yeah, that's the thought that a lot of folks have when they see red on the radar. It can mean strong storms. It oftentimes means heavy rain that can be co-located with stronger storms. It just depends. In a more tropical downpour situation, that's what you would see is a lot of red, but not necessarily a heavy thunderstorm with it, just heavy rain, and not so much the wind component of that, though we could see some 30, 40-mile-per-hour gusts out of some of these thunderstorms this evening. Our lightning count, by the way, this is kind of new to us here and probably new to you too. At the top of our screen here, we'll always be able to show you the lightning count. Now, of course, I've put on the tools instead here, but you'll get it here. Like the lightning count says 9 right now on the top of our banner. So you'll always know the 10-minute lightning count in the screen view that you see here on the maps for how much lightning there is. Nathan's asking, will next week be severe? We talked about that a little bit earlier. It's a little too early to say, but we're keeping an eye on mid next week. We'll see how that goes. There's so much going on before that in the weather, so many low pressures and cold fronts to go through the region, through the Midwest, the plains, and eventually us, that we kind of have to get through those first to really make a good assessment on what's going to happen next week, because the setup has changed so much over the last few days, even for the Derby timeframe, that it's hard to make an assessment of what's going to happen that next week. Of course, we have a 10-day forecast, which I just put up a few moments ago, and I'll put it up again here before we leave you here. But that's our best educated guess for now, knowing full well that this is going to evolve over time. Things are going to change as we get a little closer to that next week sort of stormy time frame there that you see on the maps right now. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. It's about 8:30. We've been on here for about half an hour answering some of your questions, going through the Derby forecast, going through the heavy rain tonight. Again, the main threat tonight is heavy rain. There could be some of those 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts, a few claps of thunder. That's about it. If you don't have the Wave Weather app, have that. It's always a great tool to have, not only on Derby week, but any time of the year, and especially when we're in severe weather season here. But thankfully, no severe weather tonight, just the heavy rain part of that forecast that some of you folks in central and southern Kentucky could get exposed to. And we want to make sure that any sort of minor flooding issues are kind of flagged well before they happen here for you guys down that way. So that's why we've been talking about that. All right, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Make sure you have the Wave Weather app. You can have the Wave Now app for your smart TV, Apple, Roku, Amazon Fire, what have you. And that's how you can watch our 24/7 Wave Weather Now live stream, where I'm streaming like right now for folks who are watching there on that. And of course, you can get that live stream on the Wave Weather app as well. That's it for now, folks. We're going to see you back here for our live newscast at 11 p.m. Kevin Harnan will be here. I will see you back here tomorrow. Good night, everybody.